One of my favorite parts of the year is when you get your year-end summary from Strava or whatever app you're using, and it shows just how much time you spent exercising, whether it be cycling, swimming, running, insert your sport of choice. And in my case, it was cycling, and I had spent 476 hours on the bike, which sounds insane. It sounds insane to me, and I'm the one who spent that much time on the bike. But when I break it down, it's really not that much time. Hear me out. See, 476 hours over the course of a year is 7 hours a week, which averages out to be just about an hour and 15 minutes a day of exercise. And when I think about it that way, it's a little bit more manageable. So today I want to talk about 5 things that help me manage my time and get that much time on the bike this year. Now, if you're looking for that shredded guy with the Lambo who's going to tell you that there's this insane time hack, just wait till the end, you might want to scroll to the next video because I'm not that guy. What I can offer you is a perspective of a pretty normal dude, someone who's trying to hold down work, life, family, and health, and trying to balance everything in between. And there are really no shortcuts that I'm about to offer, but there are some principles and some things that I've learned along the way. These aren't just applicable to cycling. I mean, that just happens to be my sport of choice, but it can be whatever your sport is or your exercise goal, or really whatever goal you might have this year. I think these principles apply in a very general sense. My first big takeaway from last year was the importance of owning the morning. See, if that workout didn't happen in the morning, it didn't happen at all. At my house, between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., it's quiet, no one's awake, no one's calling me from work, and I can get a good solid workout in without any interruptions. To ensure that I'm prepared for the morning, I do everything that I can the night before. So I make whatever pre-workout or sports drink that I'm gonna drink during the workout. I put out my cycling kit, my socks, my clothes, everything, so that when I wake up in the morning, I can essentially go from my bed to getting dressed to exercising without having to use too much brain power, because we all know what happens if we leave that stuff for the morning. Well, it just adds additional stumbling blocks along the way. The second big takeaway that I had last year was the importance of minimizing all of the junk and all of the cotton candy things in my life. And by cotton candy, I mean all of the things that give us that instant gratification, but really leave no valuable or lasting impression on us. That could be browsing social media, that could be binge watching a Netflix series, something that we often do out of habit, but really it provides no actual value long term. What I did find to be effective was using the time on the trainer to browse social media or binge watch something or browse YouTube. I found that if I treated it almost like somewhat of a reward and only did it when I was in like a rest interval or something like that, it actually made the workout seem a little bit easier, and it was kind of a win-win. My third takeaway was the importance of sharing your goals and ambitions with your significant other or your family members or friends, whoever that might be. See, in my case, I always set out to do Lotoja, the 200-mile race in September. I've talked about it a million times. That requires a lot of training. So I typically sit down with my wife, beginning of the year, and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this again. What do you think? And we kind of figure out a way to manage that goal to make it work within our family. And you know what? Over the last few years, I found that I've gotten more and more efficient in training for that ride. And it's been something that we all enjoy because we're all kind of invested in helping me reach that goal in the same way that I'm invested in my wife's goals and my kids' goal. It kind of becomes a family affair. I think it's also important to get honest feedback from your significant other about just how your goals might be affecting those around you. I mean, what's the point in achieving your annual mileage goal if the rest of your life is just completely falling apart? I also think there's a lot of value in exceeding your family's expectations. So if you've worked out that you can go on a long Saturday ride and your family's expecting you home at noon, come home at 11:30. Spend that extra 30 minutes with them, and I promise you it'll pay dividends over the course of a year. My fourth big takeaway is just the importance and value in integrating your circles. See, I'm not a guy who spends Friday night or Saturday night hanging out with the boys, because I get a lot of my social time on the bike because I've integrated those two circles. In fact, I'd say that, aside from a lot of the aggressive and competitive nature of what we do on the bike, I've had some of the most emotional, if you will, conversations on the bike as well, as I've shared stories and helped others around me with challenges, and they've in turn helped me. Maybe you can relate to that. That's another reason why I love cycling. See, it checks so many boxes for me. The fact that I'm able to integrate my social life as well as my sports life all into one single activity is just incredible. Another thing that I noticed last year is that I found myself saying no to a lot of things, and in hindsight, I actually really like it. See, I ended up saying no to a lot of lunch meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of opportunities in exchange for spending more times working towards my goal. And at first it was a little bit difficult, but as I did it more, I found that it was actually very valuable. So I stopped responding to a lot of emails that I never wanted to get into the first place. I stopped going to lunch meetings or doing things that I wasn't really excited about. There's a book by Derek Sivers called Hell Yeah or No, and I think that's a really unique way to live. You're not saying hell yeah, you're saying no. When you say no, you get a lot of your time back to work towards your goals. So once you've defeated those time vampires who just want to suck away your time, well, here's one bonus one for you, and that is figure out how to have flexibility in your schedule. See, I did a lot of lunch rides this last year, and I would duck out at noon or 1 o'clock. I wouldn't take a normal lunch, and I'd make up those hours later at night. So I'd go on a lunch ride, and then on a Monday night when my wife was like watching The Bachelor or something like that, I'd just pop up with my laptop and work for an hour. So I was able to get a ride, I was able to catch up on my work, and I was able to achieve some ownership over my time. And I think that is one of the biggest takeaways that I got out of last year. Look, a lot of these ideas are easier said than done, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm like this productivity guru and I have this insane time hack. In fact, a lot like you, I'm still trying to figure out how to balance it and make it better each and every year. But I promise you, if you try just a few of these things for a day or for a week and stick with it, you'll find that you have more time to do the things that you wanna do and reach the goals that you wanna reach. Anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time.